Welcome to Douglas on Trading. Stick with us because today we're going to test one of the most interesting indicators on the market today, the NinjaTrader Order Flow Trade Detector. We're going to play with it with a new strategy and see how that works, and we'll test it into the future. Just let us know what you think, maybe play with it yourself, and remember to always subscribe and hit that like button. Let's get to it. What's up, guys? Douglas on Trading here. Today I'm going to show you a strategy for the order flow trade detector within NinjaTrader. It's going to be on the ES. And today is October 18th, 2019 if you want to follow along. And what we've got here is the ES 2000 tick chart and the trade detector. I'll pull that up for you. The order flow trade detector is set, base volume is set on block, minimum volume for marker is 50, and then the marker size is 75. 75, 50 is the default. We put it on 75 so it'll be easier to see on the chart. And there's no magic number to this volume marker being 50. I just found that it's kind of a good, it's a nice in-between not enough dots, too many dots, at least what I found. And then block, what block does is show you the large number of trades that are happening at a certain tick. And some other options are a certain price, a consistent bid and ask. I'm using the block. So let's get started here. So the first thing that we do is we want to define some levels. And if you imagine the day is starting somewhere over here, the day starts right here and beyond to the right. So you want to define some levels to get started. Go to our drawing tools here. I like this region highlight. So first thing you'll notice is you've got the high right here. You've got these two highs here and then a touch here. And so it's kind of art instead of science. And of course I know what's going to happen in the future. So I know exactly where to draw it. We'll put that there. Of course, if you imagine that that peak wasn't showing, and I typically start around where the day starts. So seeing that this is kind of a double top, maybe even sort of a triple top, this is a good place. And, you know, if you're not sure, you might even draw a second one up here. But let's move on from that. These two down here are obvious, and then it's even confirmed way back here. So this is too early in the day. This is about 2:22. So I want to show you if you're looking at the right place for this to happen. We come up into this area. I call it kind of the execution area. It's the area of interest, the area of resistance. This is where we're looking for trades to happen and or potential trades to happen. And what we've got with the trade detector is you can see what starts happening up here. Like before that, there wasn't too much volume, but of course, once we get in this nice area, we got more volume happening. And so to me, what I see, I'll draw this little arrow for you so you can see it easily. So these red dots are the sellers, and then the blue dots are when you get a decent number of buyers coming in there. And so to me, what happened here is you come up through this resistance level, it pushes through, and then you've got the buyers or the sellers, the early people that are trying to sell this level. They were kind of waiting here, and that's what hits here. But then when this bar comes down and comes back up, it traps, and that's what this little arrow is for. It traps these guys going long, and then that's when they've got enough buyers to hit the big sell-off. And so you'll see with this big bar here, And then if we throw in another arrow, we come down here. Well, here's kind of your confirmation bar. You know, pulls back just a little bit and then drops again. So that's another chance. And then you even get more opportunity here. You know, I don't like trading in the middle of what looks to be a range, because you never know if it's just going to bounce kind of in the average middle area and head back up and not make it to the other side. But even here, you see at the low, we still have a number of sellers that are pretty convinced that this is going down more. It pushes up, and then you get this whole big bar down again. But anyway, I would have been looking to sell right about here, if not trying to pick the top up here, because you're hoping for the range at this point in time. And then when you come back down, so if you waited through all this, if you missed all this, it doesn't matter, because you come back down to the area of, and that would have been easy to see, you know, this isn't magic here, that this is another area of interest. It comes down. Everybody else can see it too, because that's when the volume starts kicking in. And as soon as we hit this area, we get some buyers. And then we get, you know, so what we've got buyers here at the very low. More buyers. And then boom, you get a big volume of buyers there, and then it really pushes up. And so you'll notice that there's this big area, kind of a volume right here. These are kind of what I call the danger zone. So what I was talking about back here, where I don't really like the middle of a range, is sometimes it gets confusing. And what happens here is they just kind of shake some people around. You know, they gather up some more sellers, either that or these guys are selling off their profits here. But I think what they're doing is they're tricking more sellers to come in here to get enough buying to kind of push it up further back up to the top. There wasn't a whole lot that happened up here, so I don't mark this as any trades. You'd have to be pretty aggressive. You know, you'd just be waiting right here to sell and hope it happens. But I didn't see any indication of activity or anything like that that would lead me to believe that it's going one way or another. If you're a trend line trader, you know, you even could have had something like that. So that would have been pretty difficult to go short against. You might have even got tricked into going long, something like that. But that's why I mark these areas of interest, because I get fooled in this kind of stuff all the time. But if I have these highlights on the chart, then I know I need to wait to get to those specific areas. So let's keep moving on. You build this. I suppose the trend would be like this. It's pretty after the fact kind of vision there. But you do get a pretty solid trend headed down back to this execution area, as I would call it. And then this is what I think happens in this area is you get this big volume here. And a lot of times what will happen is when you get to a high or a low, you'll see a big volume. So if it's coming down, you'll see a big volume of sellers here, and it kind of acts as exhaustion. And then the market will either reverse or it'll kind of dead cat bounce. It'll bounce back up after that big block of sellers comes in, and then it'll continue the sell-off. But what happens here is this is early. So it kind of comes back. It touches what we believe is the trend line. This is just kind of an outlier. And then a big block of sellers moves in. And so to me, that means that you should be very cautious of going long in this area. And sure enough, what happens is you get pretty solid selling right here. So if I move this trend line up out of the way for you, you know, it pushes back up. You get big block of sellers here, another big block here, right into that trend line. Nice entry bar. I mean, there's nothing nothing with that trade that doesn't look good, other than the range had been going up and down. But that's why I think these little trade markers can help. I'm not convinced of that yet. This is kind of a new strategy that I've been working on. So tell me what you guys think if you play around with it at all. And then that's good enough for, a decent scalp. You get, let's see here, 1, 2, you get a good 3 points out of that. And as it happens, it bounces back up here. I don't see anything here that we could have caught. This is an interesting spot. So if you still have a downward bias, a downward conviction, this is kind of an interesting bar here. And I'll zoom in on this, or maybe I won't. All right, so we start coming down. It comes back down to kind of our execution area, pushes up, and then you get this nice sell signal. But you've got these buyers here, and I think that was another trap, and then that's when it sells off again. But you kind of, you've got no man's land. We don't have any execution area. And so what I did was went back further in the day. And then this, I mean, you couldn't be more obvious than that as an area of interest. So I had that waiting there, something along those lines. Maybe even after that bounce happened, maybe it was even more like that, something like that. But I mean, you guys can see that. So that's pretty obvious. So I made another area of execution there. And let's get back over to it. So if it's, if it's coming down, if you didn't take any trades here, it's coming down. It still looks like sellers are happy to be selling. And it comes into this area of interest. And it's a nice sell-off, but I don't see any. Let's change the properties here so it's a little bit easier to see. Where's that opacity? Let's put that down to 10. All right. So as far as signal bars go, you get some nice downward signals. I don't see a whole lot in terms of the order flow that we've been working on, the trade detector. I don't see how you really would have found that as a trend line. You would have had to be pretty damn lucky with drawing your trend line to make that happen. I'm guessing you probably would have been more like, well, sure enough. So if you drew it from here to here, which is what I would have done, I don't always draw a trend line, so I didn't actually draw anything on this. If you draw from here to here, the bottoms, a lot of times you drag that up to the top, and that'll kind of tell you maybe where you should be looking. So if you're playing trend lines, you get these trend line touches, pretty obvious here. You get it there, and then your confirmation right there. Oops. You get your confirmation right there. So that's more of a trend line play. I don't see any kind of order flow trade detector signals that would give us any kind of indication of anything. But then after it comes through here, you got a seller dropping down here. That might have got you in at that point. I don't know. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about with the what I told you later is when those sellers come in and that signals the end of the trade. So we drop all the way down to here. Multiple days back, there might be a level or something maybe in here, but we don't even get there. So you're kind of in no man's land. And then you get this, this is the biggest block of sellers of the day, happens right here at the bottom of the trend, and that signals the reversal. I wouldn't buy here because you get burned too many times. But, it could at least convince you that maybe you should start looking long, especially once, this move starts happening up here. And this will be our last trade that we're going to mark. So maybe you would have drawn your trend line, something like that. If I can get it to paste. That looks pretty decent till it breaks it at the top. And you know, you get the touch here, you get the touch here. This would have been pretty aggressive. There's no order flow trade detector signals. However, the last signal I think is a good one. Oops. Let's go around that way. So there. So there's, I don't know how familiar you are with price action, but there's some people believe, you know, if you try to go lower once and it fails, try to go lower again, even though this is a doji, and fails and goes up, that maybe your buy should have been here. But if you didn't do that, and since we're here playing the trade detector signals, I would say your buy would be here. And that's pretty much all she wrote for the day. Starts getting a little late in the day after that. But that's what I've been working on. I like these highlight bars. I've just recently discovered these. I don't know how long they've been a NinjaTrader. I was drawing, you know, just thin blue lines before, like these trend lines. But then once I find these kind of highlight areas, I really like that. That's, what is that? That is the region highlight Y. So that's been a new fun discovery for me. And just so you know, I'm not completely crazy. We'll come back to here. This is the day before. So if you started out on the day, that's pretty obvious that this is a level up in here. And this is what's really interesting. I don't play breakouts, so I wouldn't have been fooled by this. But this is kind of what I'd be looking for. So it comes up, it breaks through here. You don't get really any signals going on there. A couple decent looking bars, but then it pushes up again, and it comes down, then pushes up again, and then you get these, you get quite a big amount of buyers right here. And I think these are the breakout traders. And then it drops. And so if you see a drop like that after this big block of breakout traders, I think you would have more of an inclination to believe that we're going lower. Because without that, if this is all you saw, and imagine the buy signals weren't there, you know, if that's all you saw and then that comes down, you know, you've got this potential resistance right here. It might be hard to pull the trigger on a sell, but knowing that it's leaving these buyers behind, in my belief, would give you a nice signal to go short. And then if you need a further signal, you kind of get the confirmation on that guy right there. You get the sell signal and you get the nice bar after it once again tries to go up. So this is what I was talking about, like first entry up, it fails, second entry up, it fails. That's a pretty standard strategy. And then the last one I'll show, let's see. If you had an eagle eye, this would be terribly easy to miss. You've got this area in here. You know, this bar leaves a little stem, this leaves a stem, this comes through, and then you even get this little tiny hang up here. So it's possible that you're looking at this as an area of interest. Like I said, you might have had an eagle eye for that one. So that might have scared you out of this trade here, but I really like it because it is a definite trap. There's no mistaking this. Is this an area down here? No, you probably wouldn't have seen that. Okay, so, you know, it comes through our potential area of interest, and then it comes up, and maybe you get fooled and go short because of these big sellers, but if you don't, this is pretty magical. Boom, boom, big sellers at the bottom of this reversal stem, and then more sellers at the bottom of this other kind of reversal bullish stem. Like, this is a perfect trap to pull out a scalp. I mean, you would have got multiple points on that one, so that's nice. I'm not going to review this whole day. But like I said, this is a brand new strategy that I've been working on. I kind of like what I've seen so far. I like the levels. I like kind of seeing where the areas of volume start popping in to signal to me that it is indeed an area that I should be paying attention to. But that's it. Please let me know in the comments below if you think that this is all BS or if it's something that you would like to try. And if you enjoyed the video, you would like to see more, please hit the like button. It's the only way that Google knows to rank me in the system. Otherwise, nobody will ever see this video. So do me that little favor, smash it, sit on it, punch it, crush it, break it. I don't care what you do to the like button. Just make it happen. Happy trading, guys. Bye.